Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today I'm answering a Dear Ruth Theresa question. That's right. Today I'm answering a Dear Ruth Theresa question from a client of mine that's rather new. Haven't seen her but a couple of times, but she was asking me about a term called roaching. And I was like, what? Now, I've been married for a long time, and completely off the dating scene for even longer than that because we were together for a long time before we got married. So I had to do some research, and I'm trying to find out what this term means because her boyfriend told her that he wasn't exclusive. And then he used the term roaching, and he kept saying, I'm not roaching you. And so both of us are kind of like, what does that mean? Now, I could tell that he had been, because energy is there, I could tell that he had been with other people, some of them like casually kind of just chatting with them, and then other ones he had been in a more intimate relationship with. So I did some research and I found some information. So I'm going to read some of it so you kind of like understand what I'm dealing with, and then I'm going to kind of give you the psychic side of this. So usually when you first start dating someone, it's kind of maybe known unless you really state it out loud of like, we're exclusive from this point forward. But the other person could be dating or seeing other people or talking to, not sleeping with, but just talking to other people. And so as you get more intimate and you kind of get, maybe not having sex, but still getting more intimate and kind of getting to know the person, you may be assuming incorrectly that the other person is doing the same thing. Kind of like we're cutting all the other ties and we're kind of getting stronger, coming together to be this couple. And the thing is, however, the person you're seeing may be hiding the fact that he or she is seeing other people, and that's what's considered roaching. It's one of those, I kind of found this one on the internet, so I was kind of like, okay, this is interesting. Here's why it's what you need to know about roaching. It's how the term got the name is whenever you see signs of one roach, there's always more roaches hidden. And so that's kind of what it is. So if you think, oh, I'm dating someone and he's only talking to one other girl, but we're kind of more exclusive, but he may be talking to someone else, the fact is there's probably more. So it's kind of like the hidden fact of like, they may not be off the market as much as you think they are, or you're kind of taking yourself off the market, but they haven't taken themselves off the market as well. I would say this is kind of one of those, there are signs that the person is probably still dating. There's probably signs that they hint about being casual, or kind of like revealing like it's no big deal. You know, if their phone goes off while y'all are together, it's like, oh, it's a friend. And so kind of that's kind of your hints that you may be getting. And then there may be kind of that intuition side of it where you're kind of like, I think something's wrong with this. Because usually as you start dating, it's one of those, you feel like, okay, we are getting to a point where now we're like in a committed relationship, and we're not seeing anybody else. We're kind of exclusive to see if this is going to work for us. But it depends on what the other person's idea is. Sometimes the other person really doesn't stop dating, and they constantly are seeing other people. And that's where you kind of like, oh, I'm at my mom's house for the 5th time this week, or whatever it is. Or she's like, oh, I'm not available that night. I've already got plans with a friend. And it's one of those, it's something to be aware of and ask about. As you start that kind of getting to know each other phase, this is a really good thing to talk about. Have you heard about roaching? What do you think about roaching? What do you know what I'm saying? Like that sort of thing. Because a lot of times people will tell you things that they don't realize they're telling you. So you really almost have to like, not just listen with your ears, but kind of listen with your heart as well. Like, okay, there's something wrong with this. And that's a really important aspect to kind of understand is what else are they telling you, or what else are they not telling you? I will tell you that a lot of times when you're feeling that activity, or you're kind of feeling like something else is going on, you're probably right. I will tell you that 9 times out of 10, when someone says, I think my spouse is cheating, more often they are correct. They just don't understand it, and they need someone to kind of like, yes, I'm confirming what you're thinking. So really, the term roaching applies to like a dating phase where you may not be totally exclusive in a relationship, but you really haven't established the intimate part. You're really not having sex, but you're just kind of like fooling around or making out or whatever else, but not necessarily having sex. Usually when, you start to get it to that point, that's a really good time to kind of call your partner and say, we need to have a face-to-face, and we need to be talking this out. And kind of, now that we are about to get into this part of the relationship, you can't see anybody else. You can't be talking to anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like dating wise, you can talk to your friends and your family and all that kind of stuff, but no one else dating wise. We're exclusive. And usually, that's when they will tell you, I'm not into you that much, or whatever else. And kind of like, I would rather have that conversation a little bit earlier in a relationship, because it's one of those, if not, you could end up sleeping with them, and then they're sleeping with someone else. And then you start having like the sexual health questions of like, who are they sleeping with? Are they protected? Are they not protected? All of that kind of like, what's going on with this. So it's really important to kind of ask those questions ahead of time and kind of get more information and kind of that sort of thing. And like I said, I will go into another video talking about like signs that you could be roached, or kind of are someone has roached you in the past, because I think it's really important to understand like where you stand in a relationship. I will tell you that 9 times out of 10, someone really wants or chooses to have a relationship where we're both exclusive. We're not seeing anybody else. And sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. And it's one of those, like I said, usually there are signs and you'll have that gut feeling. You'll see the signs or they'll hear the signs. And then the next part is, what else is happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do they feel about men or women, or how do they feel about this, that sort of thing. And a lot of times when you first start to date someone, if you really, really listen to their words, they'll tell you things. So if someone's always blaming something on someone else, it kind of gives you an idea, because a lot of times, like, a relationship is an equal sign. It's one of those, they're going to tell you like, oh, it was all her fault, or it was all his fault. And it's one of those, no, if the relationship went bad, it was bad on both sides, not just on one. So that's really an important factor to kind of understand. And like I said, talking to someone that you're dating, a lot of people I know, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can talk to my partner about this. You're about to get intimate with this person. You should be able to talk to them about things. You should be able to have really in-depth conversations. Or if you feel like you can't, then why are you choosing possibly to sleep with them and you haven't really gotten to know them yet? I know that may be old school or old world for a lot of people nowadays, but it's one of those, to me, I think you deserve some answers. If you are in a relationship with someone, you deserve to know if they're seeing someone else. You deserve to kind of know what's going up with them, and if they're sleeping with other people. That's really important, because there's a lot of sexual health questions to be answered at that point. So let's pull some angel cards and get us a little bit more information about all things roaching. This one is literally popping out of the deck. Surrender and release. If you are in a relationship that's like this, in roaching situation, surrender and release it and let it go. Because the more you hang on to it, and that's usually what they want to do, is they want you to be bonded to them, but them not bonded to you or anybody else. So they kind of feel like they can kind of see other people without any repercussions, or, oh, we never said we were exclusive, or whatever else. But it's really an important aspect that you should know where your partner is and who they're partnering up with. Like I said, sexual health is just one of the issues. It's not the only issue. The next one is playfulness. A lot of times they will kind of laugh it off as being playful. Oh, well, this is a girl I've been talking to for a long time and there's nothing serious about it. She lives so far away from us or whatever else. But a lot of times they say it as a playful thing, but it's necessarily not. And a lot of times they'll be like, oh, she's just a friend of a friend and we just chit chat or we just talk or blah, 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 blah. And it's one of those, you really need to find out more. You need to find out who she is and what does she think the relationship is. And kind of go with your gut with that. If you're kind of going like, I feel like there's something else going on, you're probably right. You just have to figure it out. Soulmates. So many of us choose to believe that there's only one soulmate for us. I believe that there's many soulmates. And it's kind of like each person you pick that you could have gone into a soulmate relationship with has a different path. If you choose this one, this is what you're going to get. If you choose this one, this is what you're going to get. And if you choose this one, this is what you're going to get. And not that any of them are bad or any of them are horrible. Usually it's one of those, it's just different. In one path, you may end up with a spouse that's sick all the time, and so you have to deal with that. Another one is maybe your spouse can't have children, and so that's something else you have to deal with. So it's not necessarily horrible decisions. It's kind of what's coming up next, or how do I deal with this differently than I have in the past so that I can make new decisions or new choices. The next one, balance. Like I said, relationships are balances. So if you're feeling off balance with your partner, ask questions. Really listen to the words that they're telling you so you can really kind of get some insight in there. And if they say something that you don't understand, call them on it. Like, okay, you just use this term I don't understand, or you use this and I don't understand, or you said blah, blah, blah. And so it kind of makes it a little bit easier to call them on things if you're really, really, really listening to what they're saying and feeling the energy of it at the same time. Like, they're telling me that this isn't a big deal, but I do feel like it's a big deal. And then tell them, like, what you just said, you say is not a big deal, and I feel that it is. Why do I keep feeling that it is? And they'll be like, oh, I don't know why. Well, no, it's something that you said. So explain it to me again, and I'll try to find the word that really, and a lot of times when you do that, your inner person is kind of like, that's the word you need to be aware of. That's the one that you really have to know that there's something wrong with this. It makes it much easier to kind of find out that information and kind of get some insight into your relationship. Enchantment. I know that most people that are involved in roaching with other people is they kind of think of it as a game, kind of like a kid's game. Like they think I'm exclusive, but I'm not. I'm sleeping with all these other people or talking to all these other people or in communication with all these other people all at the same time. So that's something that's really important to be aware of, that you are, you know what I'm saying, like, that enchantment. It's like a game to them, and it's not always a game to you. And so you could be playing like your full heart in on this, like, oh my gosh, I think that person is really into me, and this could be my one, my soulmate. This could be my, oh my gosh, this is the one. And then you find out that they're roaching you with a whole bunch of other people, and it can be overwhelming and devastating. And really, it's something that you should be aware of, because energetically, when you're sharing the same person, it's one of those, they're really closing themselves off. They're not opening themselves up as much as they could or should. And that's kind of your telltale side of, like, they're not opening up to me. Like, they're asking me questions about, like, my family or my job or whatever else. But when I ask them, they'll just be like, oh, everything's fine at work. And it's like, okay, I sat there for an hour and talked about all things work related, and they just said everything is fine. No, you deserve more answers. And ask that. Say, no. I just talked about my work for an hour, so I really want to hear about your work, and who do you work with, and where do you work at, and what happens, and all that kind of stuff, and what do you do for a living, and all that kind of stuff, kind of getting to know them. Because if you're starting to feel that from the beginning, most likely they may not be roaching you, but they're looking for other people at the same time. So make sure that you're getting all the information that you require when you start a new relationship with someone. It's really important to do that. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.